Good day, welcome to the channel. Today is the 28th of September, so I guess we'll just call it the 30th of September. And we're here at our second field. As you can see behind me, all around. We've got cabbage, spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower growing at the moment. We've also recently planted some maize as well as butternut. But yeah, this is just a sort of quick update as to how far we're going, sort of just showing where you would generally be after 2 months, or 60 days. So with our cabbage, so as you can see over here, we've got a good amount of cabbage. We've got 2 lines of spinach over here. It's some more cabbage, and then thereafter we've got some cauliflower. That's that line over there. And then thereafter we've got 3 lines of spinach. And then thereafter we've got like 1 line of some seedlings we tried out doing it on trays at home. And then thereafter, like those very young babies, are the broccoli. So specifically with the broccoli, the reason that they're still babies pretty much, is because we saw the last time that we did them. Obviously, broccoli and cauliflower are pretty much sister plants, and they're more marketable when you sort of harvest them together. You're able to package them together in a sort of half-half punnet, which goes for the same price as one full head or one full punnet of each. So yes, what we decided and what we saw last time was that the broccoli came to fruition much sooner than the cauliflower did. And we decided that what would be best would be to sort of step it. And since cauliflower takes longer, we plant that at the beginning when we're planting all of our cauliflower and those things. And then a little bit later, like 20 to 30 days later, to sort of then throw in the broccoli so that it speeds up and then it catches up to the cauliflower, and then we sort of harvest them together. So we'll see, because that was in winter, this is in summer, so really there's no sort of way to gauge how it'll go. But that's the reasoning behind us choosing to sort of step the 2 different crops in that sense. Because last time we saw that while cauliflower really takes like a good 120 days or 4 months, we found that around 90 days, maybe 100 days, most of the broccoli is just more than thriving. And once you let it get like overly ripe, I guess, that's when it starts to flower. It loses like those really like the tiny buds that actually form the broccoli itself. So that's the reasoning behind that. But yes, moving on, let's go into the cabbage. We've got our cabbage here, and I would say that it's been about 2 weeks since we did our first de-weeding or hoeing. We do that manually with some of the ladies that are around here. So this is our cabbage here. As you can see, you've got some spots where this field used to have lucerne before. So that's this little outgrowth that comes out of here. That's the sort of bushy grass that is used as feed for cattle and livestock, essentially. But yeah, this is a beautiful example of how far we are now. At the first of 1 month, I'd say that the leaves were sort of this big. You didn't have these like really big leaves over here. It was sort of just this over here. And the nice thing now after 2 months is that it's reaching the end of its vegetative state, and it's going into like the fruiting stage. So as you can see over here, whereas these were all open at the beginning, I'll sort of go show you, because we've got some babies over there at the back that are just taking a while. Actually, we've got a baby right here. So as you can see, this was sort of like at 1 month or 30 days. And as you can see, it's still pretty open. You can kind of see where the plant's going to be growing and all of that, versus this baby where we can see that it's really now starting to curl up inside. If you look really deeply, yeah, all the ones that are developing inside are really curled inward. I'll show you a couple of examples, but yeah, that's the nice thing. We're at 60 days, so the next 2 months are gonna be really for developing the actual cabbage head, or the fruit of the crop. Yeah, and that's gonna be really nice starting to see where your actual cabbage or your crop is headed, you know. So yeah, here's another example. As you can see, they're curled inward, and even down there, that little leaf over there is just curled inward. I'll show you a couple more examples. This is an example of what happens when you plant two seedlings in one place. So there's this plant and its head, and then here's another one. So of course, while it might look like this big conglomeration of cabbage, really what's happening is that the two cabbage heads are not going to be as big as they would have been if you see this is pretty much the same size as both of those, and the cabbage head in the end won't be as big as it could have been. But yeah, as you can see, they're really curling inwards at this point. Yeah, and we're gonna start to see some cabbage heads sort of around 80 days, which will be the 20th of October. Yeah, they're coming along really well in my opinion. Something I love as well is the spacing that we used this time was sort of 2 feet between two crops. So what's beautiful, as you can see here and over there, once you sort of bring them close enough together, or you give them the space that when they do grow large enough, sort of there's a bit of an overlap right there in between the two plants. And these huge leaves, especially with this specific cultivar, which is conquistador, they've got these really huge and broad leaves, you know, that really sort of spill over and sort of really cover up the surrounding area around it. So yeah, all of these areas underneath the actual thing, you're not going to get like lots of weed growth because there's really no sunlight there. So weeds just are not going to have the opportunity to compete around there. And as you can see, of course, in these little gaps, you're going to have something. Obviously in the furrows you'll have something growing, especially on that side. But yeah, for the most part in between, especially with this, because we didn't get a chance to burn all of the grass that was here before the land preparation. So in the end, it sort of ended up mulching the land in a really nice way. And as you can see, even here, there's a lot of mulch. And as you can see, these guys are like, look at those guys over there and look at these guys. You know, it's really helping them sort of retain the moisture in the soil, right down there by their roots. So yeah, this is really amazing. As you can see, like I don't want to disturb them too much in their head formation, but yeah, like it's so beautiful. You can really see that, oh, okay, you guys are gonna start becoming cabbages really soon, or you're gonna start producing your cabbage heads really soon, which is very beautiful. It's always nice to sort of see that, okay, finally, after everything, after all the work, you know, 2 months in. And of course, this isn't an easy process because you're waiting a good 4 months, which is like so long, to actually see like the fruition of your labor, to, I guess, reap what you sow. So yeah, it's very nice to get to this stage where you can see that they're really starting to become, I guess, yeah, like real, I don't know, crops or whatever. So yeah, really nice. And that is, for the most part, the cabbage. So over here, we have 2 lines of spinach over here. We've also got that 3 lines that's over there. It's sort of that like lighter green sort of row of plants. We'll get there though, but I just wanted to start off here because this was planted first. If I remember correctly, this was the first cabbage that we planted, and then we did the spinach, and then we sort of separated it from this cabbage that we planted like, I guess, 2 days later. So it's not necessarily that it was like a week apart or anything like that. It was just days. But yes, this was like the separating factor. As you can see, we've got some, this is like a sort of size 8, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is sort of the idea you get of how big and luscious spinach can get. It's really beautiful because it's this cultivar that's called Ford Hook Giant. So it's a giant spinach. It's supposed to have these giant leaves, and yeah, it's honestly just so gorgeous. Really well established. With this, we didn't even worry about, like, you know, NPK or, okay, hold on. With this spinach, we didn't really worry about NPK or LAN or anything like that. What we did is that we got like we've got chickens at home, right? So like just a couple, it's probably around 25 chickens, between, I guess, Xhosa hard body chickens and layer chickens, for the eggs. And yeah, what we do is that we always continuously collect the manure. And yeah, we got a chance to really, yeah, collect all of that. And I think we had like 5 to 6 bags or something for about 1,500 to 2,000 spinach. So yeah, that worked really amazingly for us. What we did is we got like sort of huge dishes, yeah, huge dishes of, and here's a bit of it that's left over here. You can sort of see that this is like kind of cow poop. There's some feathers over there, but yeah, that's literally all we used over here. And that's a nice thing about sort of organic fertilizer. It's just so readily available to the plants, and especially with spinach loving water so much, and having to probably irrigate that twice as much as you would with the cabbage, it really helps that be available to the plant. And after 2 months, this is where we're at. I'll sort of show some pictures of how they were literally at planting date, which was the 1st of August. So yeah, really gorgeous, really nice and lush. If anything, like some of these we can really start to, you see, out of this plant, you're not gonna cut bunches like from the whole entire plant, you know. You'll take this and that, and then you'll go on to the next plant, just taking some of the largest and most developed leaves, getting that into a bunch. So a bunch has like, I think, 20 leaves, give or take. And you sort of just measure the size of all of that and then standardize your bunch. But yeah, this is the spinach looking really, really, really beautiful. Yeah, I'm very impressed over here. Let's quickly just jump over all this cabbage, jump over the cauliflower. I'll get back to that. But yeah, here's the latest spinach that we planted. And it's also pretty much on the way for the most part. As you can see, some of them are still a little bit behind. This is what that spinach was at, I guess at the end of like 1 month, or maybe a month and like a quarter, like 40 days maybe. So yeah, yeah, this is just beautiful. Spinach is coming along very well, and honestly, I'm just very impressed. Yeah, yeah, that's how far we are with that. I guess I'll just jump straight into the cauliflower as well. So with the cauliflower, we've got 3 lines over here. This is 1,000. Sorry, I forgot to mention, with the cabbage, it's 10,000 spinach across the board. And then over here, we also had, I think, 1,500 to 2,000 sort of spinach. Yeah, and here with the cauliflower and the broccoli that's over there, it's 1,000 of each. We have a sort of very limited market for, I guess, more high-end products. We are in a rural area in Eastern Cape, so of course cabbage has more of an appeal to the informal market, as well as generally even to the stores that you supply. Cabbage, it's in really big demand, especially around Grant Week. But yeah, back to the cauliflower. Yeah, as you can see, here's a really nicely developed. We had some potatoes we did last time, and they're really, I guess there were some that were left, and they're really stepping up and growing out again. So yeah, this is really beautiful. I need to bring more manure for that. But yeah, this is our cauliflower. As you can see, the leaves are very different to the cabbage ones, um, with these really jagged sort of edges, you know, like really um like in and out, yeah, really sort of jagged edges. As you can see also over here, it's got these rough sort of, yeah, those sort of rough whatevers, I don't know, edges to their leaves. As you can see over here, this is where the cauliflower head is going to be. There's some of the tiny leaves that are going to form that sort of central nodule that's going to eventually become the cauliflower head. And I know a lot of people are interested in how cauliflower actually comes to like fruition and how it just develops as a plant. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to show you guys. But yeah, that is sort of the cauliflower. I'll just quickly step over to this side. I guess this is our last crop. These are drumhead cabbages that we did on seedling trays. It's not just this one line, because it's one line over here, right? But also like through the gaps, you know, because some of them, as you sort of plant the seedling, it just doesn't like hold and take or whatever, or it dies, or I don't know, the fertilizer, it gets fertilizer burn and it just doesn't develop really well. So wherever there's a bit of a gap, you know, you'll take like some of your own seedlings and just prop them into there so that you end up using all of the space that you prepared. And I assume that you rented, you know, in a communal farming sort of context or setup. So yeah, that's this little broccoli that's coming along. I mean, sorry, not broccoli, cabbage that's coming along over here. So yeah, really babies, this is what it's like when it's still really small, and then it develops to become that. And then over here we've got these cabbages. These cabbages, oh, I keep messing up. Here we've got this broccoli, and the broccoli right now should be pretty much, I think it's around 20 days, but I mean, it was planted this month. So we're just gonna use the 1st of September as reference. And yeah, so it's at 30 days, whereas everything else you can see on the field is at 60 days. So that's why these are really babies at the moment. But yeah, this is the little nodule where your broccoli head's gonna come out. Of course, as time goes on, you guys are gonna see sort of how beautifully it just comes together and becomes like a solidified proper plant. And you'll see it the way it's developing, the way I showed you with the rest of the crops. So yeah, this is, I think, 3.5 lines of broccoli. Yeah, so yeah, all of this is supposed to be ready. I mean, the spinach generally is 90 days. So with the spinach, that should be done by the end of October. And then we start, and that's the nice thing about spinach. You don't harvest once, you know. Like I said, you don't take all the leaves of the plant. You're going to take the most developed leaves and then you're going to leave the rest. Of course, those are going to grow and be like the best eventually, like 2 weeks later. You harvest again and again and again until you sort of see that the quality is declining or the quantity, and then you know that you're kind of done. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, that is going to be the end of October, and then everything else is reaching 120 days. By everything else, I mean the cauliflower and the cabbage are going to be reaching 120 days at the end of November. So that's when we'll be harvesting that. But beautifully, it's going to coincide with the spinach, because we'll still be going through our second, third, fourth harvests, right through to like December, January. So yeah, that's the beautiful thing over here. Um, yeah. And then with this broccoli over here, that's still a baby and is at 30 days. Generally, we're trying to get to 100 days. So I would give it until maybe the 10th of December. It should be okay by then, but yeah, we'll see over the course of this. And I guess this channel will be also a very fun way to sort of track how everything's going, sort of be able to look back and see that at this stage, this is how far this was and how developed that was. So yeah, this is really amazing. I'll sort of just also go into the agronomy of everything, and just a very small example of sort of how lucrative farming can be for anyone, really. So yeah, let me quickly just jump into that. Um, yeah, with these, right, with broccoli as well as cauliflower, your seedling is gonna be around like 1 rand 10 cents from where we get our seedlings. So yeah, that 1 rand 10 cents after 4 months of TLC is going to give you sort of one cauliflower or broccoli head, which is worth, I think, as at a supplier price, it's between 20 to 23 rand, and then the retail price of that would be 30 rand per fully formed head, fully formed cabbage, or sorry, fully formed broccoli or cauliflower head. So that's really nice. If you think about it, I mean, that's 29 rand that you develop in unison with Mother Nature over the course of 4 months, you know? So yeah, like it's really quite an investment. I mean, if you put it all together, that broccoli over there together with this cauliflower, that gives you 2,000 sort of seedlings, and 2,000 times 1 rand 10 cents is essentially 2,200, give or take, for the most part, excluding transport and stuff like that, which is essentially going to give you, if we have 2,000 plants, we take it that 900 of each. If we have 1,000 plants each crop, we take it that 900 is going to get to fruition. The other 100 might be stolen, it might be bad quality, it might just not, like, you know, really like come out of the ground. I mean, here's an example. You've got like really good, it's good all the way over there, and then you're like, where's that little plant, you know? So that might not have not like come out properly, but then you get past that and then you've got a really good vibe. There's that little gap. So those are the sort of hundreds that you take away. So anyways, from 2,000 crops, you have sort of 1,800 that you put into market. And from that 1,800, if you sell that, let's say 20 rand each, that is going to give you, I hope my maths is right, 1,800 times 20, 18 times 20 is 18 times 20. Okay, let me just do 20 times 20. Nah, screw it. I've got a calculator. I'll be right back. So yeah, 18 times, sorry, not 18, 1,000. So yeah, 1,800 crops, times 20 rand unit price will give you, give or take, 36,000. So yeah, taking like essentially 2,000, and over 4 months that develops into 36,000. As you can see, you know, you sort of get a sense of how profitable farming can be, if everything goes well. Of course, I guess in those sort of like those plants, if you put them all together, I think you would also put in maybe, I guess, 6,000 of fertilizer. I think the labor would probably be about 1,000 over the course of this 4 months. So if you take the 2,000 plus the 5, that's 7. Add 1,000. We'll also add 1,000 for like miscellaneous sort of stuff, like your insecticide, just stuff like that, miscellaneous. And yeah, that takes us to about 9,000 all in all, for the cost price. And then yeah, you get 36 back, which gives you 27,000 profits. So yeah, that's an idea. Even yeah, with the 10,000 cabbages, let's say you've got 9,000. and yeah, you sell those at 20 rand each. That is essentially 180,000, yeah, give or take. So I'll let you, yeah, if you take that, I think with 10,000 cabbages, other than, and what's nice about cabbages, the seedling price is 50 cents, you know, because it's such a sort of popular crop for people. So it's only 50 cents for that. The seedlings themselves for the 10,000 are going to cost you about 5,000, give or take, without transport and stuff like that. So yeah, that's 5,000 for that. I think I'd say maybe budget around like 10 to 12, maybe 14,000 for like fertilizer. That puts us at, I'll use 12. 12 plus 5,000 for the seedlings is 17. I'd say the labor cost would be another 5,000. So 17 plus 5, that's 22,000. Let's say miscellaneous costs take you up to about 25,000 in terms of the cost. That's not to put into account like the rental of the land and stuff like that. That's around 25,000 to basically bring this to market. And then yeah, to get 180,000, that's really, really good. That's really, really good. Yeah, that's really amazing. As you can see, that's really profitable. Let's take it to about even 40,000 is like the maximum for that amount of plants. So yeah, 180,000 minus 40,000, that's 140,000. Starts to make sense, you know. And if this is one field and yeah, you've got like two other fields, obviously that's like 180,000 every sort of month and a half, or 140,000 profit every month and a half, if you step them well and you've always got a production that's going. So yeah, that's really amazing. It just comes to show how profitable really farming can be. And yeah, that's the beautiful thing that we're doing here. So yeah, yeah, I'm nqaba from TNYP Farming. Yeah, please subscribe, like, follow, leave a comment, ask any questions, ask anything you'd love to know, anything you'd love for me to go into depth with. But yeah, for the most part, that's, I guess, the first video. Very haphazard and really out of nowhere. But yeah, here we are. And yeah, I hope you guys love the content. Of course, it's only going to get better and better. This is just the beginning. But yeah, yeah, really glad to sort of, yeah, get to the point where I'm doing all of this. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever you want to do. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day and think about possibly getting into farming. Bye.